Outfall Promise, the night the creek climbed the street. The water sounded like a freeway, my throw bag burned my palm, and a calm voice on the headset, one I didn't know yet, said my name like a seatbelt. Marco, do not enter the box culvert at Lamar and 12th. Bring them to Austin High, door 3. I'll have blankets, albuterol, and charging stations now. I'm Marco Torres, 28, swiftwater rescue technician with Austin Fire Special Operations. My office is a dry suit that's never dry, a PFD that smells like neoprene and river math, and a pack full of prussics, pulleys, and throw bags. People think flood nights are big hero moves. Mostly they're angles, edging, force vectors, and choosing no when the culvert looks like it's whispering your name. By 7:10 p.m., the line of storms had trained over Burnett, then Cedar Park, and slid south across the Mopac like a zipper. NWS went from watch to warning to turn around, don't drown in 30 minutes. Shoal Creek forgot its manners first. Onion Creek threatened to write its own ordinance. We staged at Lamar, lights painting rain into confetti we didn't ask for. The Combined Transportation, Emergency and Communications Center, CTECC, braided AFD, MS, APD, Public Works, and us. A new voice joined the net, clipped and warm at once, with diction learned in rooms where panic hits the ceiling. Rescue 15, this is Eli Brooks, 911 dispatcher on flood desk. Reports of 2 vehicles stalled at Lamar and 12th. Box culvert pulling like a bad idea. Do not enter the structure. Divert anyone ambulatory to Austin High, door 3. We've spun up shelter, warmers, albuterol, insulin coolers. He said my name like a seatbelt. There, click, now breathe. Copy, flood, I said. We'll rope the approach, spotters on both banks. No culverts, but the truly shocking part hadn't happened yet. Shoal had climbed its banks and was negotiating with the road like a lawyer. A Camry huddled at the center line, water at the hubcaps, driver's knuckles in first-degree disbelief. 10 yards downstream, a pickup had tried to be a boat and learned theology. My partner Kate posted a spotter. I clipped a throw bag, checked knife, whistle, light, and ran edging along the concrete where the current offered me a discount. Driver. Window down! Seatbelt off. Over here! The man obeyed the way people do when their brain hears this voice belongs to gravity. He opened, water slapping in with the enthusiasm of bad news. A cross-chest grab, a heel hook over the door, and we were 2 bodies with one plan. I edged him to the rope where Kate hauled like belief. Marco, Eli's voice came back. Be advised, additional cells training over Walnut Creek and Onion. APD closing South Congress low water crossings. If you peel walk-ups, send to door 3. We've got asthma and diabetics trending. CPAP users driving on car power. Copy, door 3, I said. What's your power? Generators 1, 2 solid, 3 pouty. We're prioritizing med gear and phones. Public Works rolling fuel drums. He said pouty, and the night felt slightly less sharp. I thought rope and edges would be the whole story, but flash floods right in lungs and labels, and the next call bent the creek toward breath. A sedan door flashed up current. A woman climbed out with the carrier held high like an offering. Inside, a cat with the social contract of a small god. She tried to step. The current spanked her shin into a decision. Freeze, I said, palms up. I tossed the throw bag in a high arc, rope landing across her shoulders. Hold the rope and believe me. 2 steps left. Now. We slid along the edging to the cone line that APD had built out of firm suggestions. She reached asphalt and cried for 5 seconds, then looked at me like maybe I'd invented a new verb. Austin High, door 3. Warmers. Quiet. Pet corner, I said. Ask for Eli. I didn't know why I said his name like it had weight yet. It already did. We cleared Lamar, left cones and tape for the river to ignore, and redeployed to South Congress where the low-water crossing had decided to audition for a documentary. MS called Priority, Infant with Wheeze. Ominous Civic with the dashboard lit like Christmas. TC, I said. Rescue 15 moving to SoCo and Alpine. Advise Eli, we'll need albuterol at door 3. Copy 15, he heard you. He says, quote, bring yourself back too. The infant's breath whistled high and tight. Mom's hands were near her chest the way fear teaches you. The water wanted to lift the Civic a foot and dare us to blink. We made it fast without pretending fast is smart. Stabilize the car with rope to guardrail, spotter up current, window down, pass the kid in a blanket burrito to Kate, who moved like a therapist who carries hoses. EMS took the handoff, and I said the sentence I'd chosen to keep saying. Austin High, door 3, warmers, Eli. They nodded, because names are bridges. I figured water and steel were our enemies. But the next voice came with a map of people, and it sounded like a promise. When the rescue truck idled long enough for the cab to pretend to be warm, Kate grinned at me with the kind cruelty of friends. So Eli has a voice that makes you run toward things. I don't run toward things, I said. I edging toward them while negotiating. Uh-huh, she tapped the comms. Flood, Rescue 15. If you have any walk-ups near South First Footbridge, we can shepherd. Copy, 15, Eli said. Be advised. Group of 4 attempting to cross the Butler Boardwalk. APD en route with PA. Please, do not let anyone treat the river like a trail. On it. At the boardwalk, the river had turned into muscle. APD lit the railing red-blue. An officer on the PA said the thing we all say on nights like this. The water is moving faster than you. We caught the 4 before they became footage. Austin High, door 3, I told them. Coffee that tastes like good news and a charging cathedral. They laughed and hated me a little less for bossing them. CTECC crackled. 2 trapped on Blunn Creek Trail. Downed limb, rising water, unknown injuries. Trail is code for where rope goes to remember its job. We went on foot, rope in bags, strobe bouncing off cypress and oak. The couple huddled on a bench like a tiny island. I built a tensioned diagonals with Kate anchoring on a live oak that had read its building code. I clipped, slid, and talked the way rescue techs do. Present tense, short, polite. We ferried them one by one without baptizing anyone. Rescue 15 to CTECC, 2 off the bench. Door 3 inbound. Any change on Onion? Eli again. Onion Creek out of banks at Pleasant Valley. Public Works closing low water. No culverts. Meet me at door 3. We've got an asthmatic grandma and a kid who thinks his leopard gecko is an EVP. You're going to like him, I smiled before remembering. I was wet and made of sore. Austin High, door 3 had been a door this afternoon. Tonight it was a doctrine. Cones formed an alphabet. Volunteers moved like a nervous system. Generators thudded like hearts that had backup plans. A banner that usually bragged about UIL wins now declared welcome with tape and conviction. And there, vest over a dark tee, head set around his neck like a stethoscope he deserved, stood Eli, up close. He was early 30s, Latino black mixed by the vowels and cheekbones. San Antonio by the joke he didn't tell yet. His lanyard read Brooks E. His eyes read rooms at a rate you couldn't pay for. Marco, he said, Eli. We shook with hands that had been making math out of water. He was solid, warm in a way that suggests coffee is a lifestyle and kindness is a habit. He didn't ask for a report before he asked the question. You okay? I keep being, I said. Me too, he said, like a ritual that had found its church. Now the work was breath and labels. We loaded CPAP machines onto a dedicated circuit. We labeled insulin coolers with names, Garcia, Yazdan, Albright, like we were titling novels. FFA kids corralled pets with the authority of small sheriffs. A barista with a generator at home arrived with a tray of caffeine and morality. Eli ran it all like he had 5 extra hands and a whiteboard where his brain should be. A 7-year-old arrived clutching a shoebox. He popped the lid with solemn drama. Leopard gecko displeased. Eli knelt to eye level. Name? Pixel. Excellent. Pixel gets a warm towel in a corner. You get a job. Tell people door 3 is for breathing better. The kid saluted, solemn in pajama pants. Watching that, I felt something unclench that had nothing to do with mizzen knots or mooney mules. I thought the room would let us breathe. But storms like second drafts, and the generator coughed a sentence we couldn't afford. Generator 3 hiccuped, wobbled, stabilized, lied, then quit. The lights dipped. CPAP screens blinked. O2 concentrators watched us like kids waiting to see if adults know what to do. Eli didn't pretend to be a mechanic. He pretended to be a leader, which is the mechanic for the soul. All right, friends. Non-med chargers to Station B. CPAP gets A and C. Public Works is 2 minutes with fuel. Marco, do you have inverters in the truck? 2, plus a splitter that hates me. Hate is fine if it delivers, he said. We daisy-chained the inverters in a way we could legally defend later. Prioritized. Bought 10 minutes for lungs while fuel arrived like Santa with diesel. When the generator note steadied, 4 people cried without noise. Eli looked at me. One beat of gratitude so specific I wanted to wrap it in tinfoil and save it. He didn't touch me. He didn't have to. He asked again, you okay? I keep being. Me too. CTECC again. Vehicle in water at Onion Creek, low crossing near Pleasant Valley. 2 occupants en route. Access degraded. Rescue 15 available? I looked at Eli, which was ridiculous. He wasn't my captain. He nodded like a man who knows how to loan a person back to the river. Go. Bring them back. Bring yourself back. I'll hold door 3. At Onion, the world had stopped using indoor voices. Whitewater that had never met a kayak shoulder-checked the piers. The car sat nose down, roof barely above the line where physics considers feelings. 2 figures crouched, one waving, one with arms wrapped around their own ribs, rigging under light towers and rain and the noise that makes religion reasonable. Edges first. Anchor on a live oak that had opinions, tensioned diagonal across the tongue of current. Kate and I moved like a comma and a semicolon. Different jobs, same sentence. We ferried the first. Teenage boy who looked like the worst idea was now history. And then the second. A woman my mom's age with the annual Texas hair that refuses to flatten. Door 3, I said to them both. The way some people say amen. Copy, Eli said in my ear I'd forgotten I was wearing. I'll stage albuterol and tea in quiet. He said quiet like a medicine you could pour. I thought we'd earned dawn. But flood nights stash codas in ravines. And the next call braided my rope to his headset. CTECC. Report of trespassers near Lamar and 12th attempting culvert entry for video. APD staged. Requests rescue for education. I laughed once, humor with teeth. We rolled back. Two 20-somethings with GoPros and confidence. I dropped to one knee, used my teacher voice. Here's what happens if you crawl in. The head of water meets the roof and learns you have lungs. Tonight, no. You want a story. I'll give you one from outside. They argued, and then the creek hit the mouth of the culvert with a thump that made the ground translate. They nodded, went to door 3, and later I saw them passing out water because sometimes the universe tips a hat. Back at the school, Pixel had acquired legend status. The charging cathedral, a row of power strips run by a teen in a Whataburger hat, called out names like a DJ. Albright, Yazdan, Garcia! People clap for bars like they do for good news. A grandmother sat under a banner, nasal cannula looping like jewelry, eyes on a young man who was trying to equal love with useful. Eli sat on the cafetorium stage edge, charted, checked her flow, handed the young man a job that wasn't a platitude. Count her breaths for me for 1 minute every hour and write it here. The kid grew 2 inches in a second. You okay? Eli asked me again when the drumbeat of urgent downgraded to necessary. I keep being, I said, good, me too. CTECC sent a text ping with the kind of dare I hate. We can energize feeder 07 if no water contact with conductors along Pleasant Valley. Can rescue confirm? If I guessed wrong, electricity would turn a lesson into a headline. Deny, I said. Standing water over curb at Pleasant Valley. Wood poles swaying. Known phase height. Stay dark until field cut, affirmed, CTECC answered. I pictured Eli on the other end, penning no where it needed to live. I thought my last brain cell would go to rope, but the room saved one for a softer math. It was somewhere close to 3:30 a.m. when the rain remembered mercy. The gym hummed at a lower frequency. Snores, soft radio, a baby practicing breathing. Eli stood under the door 3 awning, breath in little clouds, clipboard tucked, eyes still auditing the universe for errors. I stood next to him, not touching, like that's a language we'd both learned. We held it, he said. It held us, I said. He smiled. I answered. Then he did the thing I had not let myself plan. He leaned his forehead to mine for one quiet heartbeat. PG-13, consent-sized, an amen with rain in it. A security camera above door 3 rotated like a cat with ethics. We stepped apart because a volunteer called Eli, albuterol for the kid with the boardwalk story. Timing likes showmanship. 46 hours later, Austin HSEM posted a recap, map of road closures, before-after of Lamar, Public Works excavators unwrapping the culvert mouth, AFD hauling a sedan out of a puddle that argued. The last slide was a grainy CCTV still from Austin High, door 3, 2 figures under an awning, one in a PFD with throwbag, one in a Red Cross vest, foreheads inclined, one heartbeat. The caption read, small, honest, enough. Eli texted the link and after a beat the length of a breath, dinner? Always, I wrote. Good, he said. Because I am. We ate breakfast tacos and sweet tea at a place on South First that keeps a generator like a rosary. He told me about call triage. The way, are you in immediate danger? And are you safe where you are not the same question. I told him about rope vectors, tensioned diagonals, and the time Barton Springs taught a rookie to respect a strainer. We didn't pick a schedule. We made a rule. When LCRA posts flood pool and NWS draws the polygon, we text here. When the first crossing takes itself personally, we text me too. He keeps a spare spacer in my gear bin because children are everywhere. I keep a Sharpie in his headset bag because labels are love when the gym smells like wet hope. Sometimes the safest place isn't on the dry side of a line or behind a floodgate. Sometimes it's the inch between 2 foreheads under a school awning, while a city convinces its creeks to sit down. Sometimes it's a voice on net that says your name like a seatbelt. I'm here, I tell him when the radar tries to paint our windows again. Me too, he says. And Austin, stubborn, generous, expertly bilingual in please and y'all, lets us try again.